Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're talking about someone who almost doesn't need an introduction.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
One of the greatest football players we've ever seen. But this World Cup feels different, doesn't it?
It really does. Every time Ronaldo walks onto the pitch now, people aren't just watching the match anymore. They're watching history.
Exactly. Every interview, every touch of the ball, every goal, every missed chance, it feels bigger than football.
That's because this tournament isn't only about Portugal trying to win the World Cup. It's also about one enormous question.
Is this Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup?
That's the question millions of fans are asking.
And honestly, James, it's kind of emotional just saying it out loud. I still remember watching him back in 2006. He looked like this fearless young superstar with incredible speed, crazy skills, and endless confidence.
Now, almost 20 years later, he's still here. Think about that for a second. Entire generations of footballers have come and gone. Managers have retired. Stadiums have changed. Football itself has evolved. Yet Cristiano Ronaldo is still leading Portugal on the biggest stage in football.
That's honestly unbelievable.
It is. Longevity like this is incredibly rare. Most players dream about playing in one World Cup. Some great players reach 2. Legends might reach 4 or even 5. Ronaldo is competing in his 6th World Cup, something no player had ever achieved, while also scoring in 6 different editions.
That's crazy when you really think about it.
It really is. Whether you're a Ronaldo fan or not, you have to respect that achievement. Staying at the top level for 2 decades requires an obsession with discipline.
And that's actually something people don't always talk about. Everyone sees the goals. Everyone sees the trophies. But very few people see what happens every single day behind the scenes.
Exactly. His diet, his recovery, his sleep schedule, his training sessions, his commitment. They're almost legendary. Former teammates have told stories about arriving early for training only to find Ronaldo already there. Others have said they finished training exhausted while Ronaldo stayed behind to practice free kicks or finishing.
So when people ask how he's still playing at 41,
the answer isn't luck.
it's years of consistency.
Exactly. Talent can make you famous. Discipline keeps you relevant.
But here's something interesting. Not everyone believes he should still be starting every game.
That's true. This World Cup has created one of the biggest debates in football.
Because some people say age eventually catches everyone.
Right? Critics argue that Portugal has younger, faster attackers. They wonder if the team would be more dynamic without relying so much on Ronaldo.
While others say, well, he's Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's basically the other side of the argument.
Which honestly sounds simple, but it's not.
No, because experience matters enormously in tournaments like the World Cup. Younger players sometimes panic under pressure. Ronaldo has lived through almost every situation imaginable. Finals, penalty shootouts, comebacks, defeats, championships.
So, even if he isn't sprinting like he did at 23,
his presence changes the atmosphere.
the defenders still pay attention to him.
Absolutely. His teammates believe in him. Opponents respect him. Fans expect something special every time he touches the ball.
But pressure works both ways, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Because every single match now feels like another chapter in the final pages of an incredible career.
That's exactly why this tournament feels different. Ronaldo isn't just chasing another trophy anymore. He's protecting one of the greatest legacies football has ever seen.
And that's a lot of pressure.
More pressure than most athletes ever experience.
Coming up next, I really want to dive deeper into that pressure. Because I think many people underestimate what it's actually like when the entire football world expects you to create magic, even at 41 years old. Before the break, we were talking about pressure. And James, I keep thinking about something. Most players only have to deal with the pressure of winning matches. Ronaldo seems to carry something much bigger.
That's true. At this stage of his career, every performance becomes part of his legacy. Every goal adds to it. Every missed chance becomes a headline. Very few athletes experience that kind of constant attention.
And it's not just football fans anymore.
Exactly. Social media has changed everything. 20 years ago, people would watch the match, read the newspaper the next day, and move on. Today, one missed shot can become millions of posts within minutes.
Every camera is following him.
Every reaction is analyzed. Every facial expression becomes a debate. Did he look frustrated? Was he angry? Is he too old? Should he still start? Those conversations happen after almost every game.
That sounds exhausting.
It probably is. Imagine walking into your workplace knowing that hundreds of millions of people are waiting to judge every decision you make.
Honestly, most of us couldn't handle that for a single day.
Probably not. And Ronaldo has lived with that pressure for almost 2 decades. That's one reason why sports psychologists often describe elite athletes differently. Physical talent gets them to the top, but mental strength keeps them there.
I think that's something people forget. They see confidence and assume everything is easy.
Confidence doesn't mean there's no pressure. It often means you've learned how to perform despite the pressure.
That's a huge difference.
It really is. Look at this World Cup. Some supporters are hoping for one last magical run. Others believe Portugal should focus on younger players. Those opinions create enormous expectations before every match even begins.
So, no matter what happens, someone will criticize the decision.
Exactly. If Ronaldo starts and Portugal loses, critics ask why he played. If he stays on the bench and Portugal struggles, people ask why their greatest player wasn't used.
That's almost impossible to win.
That's the reality of being a global icon. Sometimes expectations become bigger than reality.
But here's something I've noticed. Even players from other countries seem to admire him.
Absolutely. Many of today's young stars grew up watching Cristiano Ronaldo. Some of them had his posters on their bedroom walls. Now, they're sharing the same pitch with him.
That's kind of surreal.
It is. Think about it. A teenager who watched Ronaldo lifting trophies as a child could now be trying to stop him in a World Cup match. That's how long he stayed at the highest level.
It almost feels like 2 generations of football meeting in one tournament.
That's a perfect way to describe it. Ronaldo represents an era that inspired today's players, while those younger players represent football's future.
Do you think Ronaldo feels that?
I think he probably does. Athletes know when they're entering the final chapter of their careers. They don't always talk about it publicly, but they're aware that every tournament could be the last.
Which makes every goal even more emotional.
Exactly. Fans aren't just celebrating a goal anymore. They're celebrating another memory before the story eventually comes to an end.
That's actually quite sad when you think about it.
It is, but it's also beautiful. Every legendary career reaches this point. The difficult part isn't becoming a superstar. The difficult part is saying goodbye.
And maybe that's why this World Cup feels so different from all the others.
I agree. Whether Portugal wins the trophy or not, millions of people are watching because they understand they're witnessing the closing pages of one of football's greatest careers.
But here's the big question. When people talk about Cristiano Ronaldo years from now, what will they actually remember? Will it be the goals, the trophies, the records, or something even bigger than statistics?
That's exactly what we're going to explore next, because Ronaldo's legacy goes far beyond numbers.
Welcome back. Before the break, we asked a simple question. Years from now, when people hear the name Cristiano Ronaldo, what will they remember first?
That's actually a fascinating question because everyone has a different answer.
Some people will immediately think of the goals,
Others will remember the trophies.
and some people will simply say, work ethic.
Exactly. Ronaldo's legacy isn't built on one single achievement. It's the combination of everything he accomplished over more than 20 years.
Let's start with the numbers, because they're honestly unbelievable.
They really are. Ronaldo has scored well over 900 official career goals, making him one of the highest-scoring players in football history. He's also the all-time leading scorer in international football, something that seemed almost impossible a generation ago.
That's incredible when you realize international football isn't played every week.
Right? You only get a limited number of international matches each year. Breaking that record required extraordinary consistency over 2 decades.
And then there are the Champions League records.
Exactly. For many fans, the Champions League is where Ronaldo built much of his legend. 5 Champions League titles, the competition's all-time leading scorer for many years. Countless knockout stage goals, hat tricks under pressure, last-minute winners. Some of football's greatest nights featured Cristiano Ronaldo.
I still remember people saying that if it was a Champions League night, you could almost expect Ronaldo to score.
That's because he developed a reputation for performing when the pressure was highest. Some players shine in regular league matches. Ronaldo repeatedly delivered on football's biggest stages.
That's probably why people call him a big game player.
Exactly. Finals, semifinals, knockout rounds. Those moments often brought out the very best in him.
But here's something interesting. His career wasn't always perfect.
Not even close.
I think people sometimes forget that.
They do. We tend to remember the highlights and forget the difficult moments. Ronaldo has experienced painful defeats, major disappointments, and constant criticism throughout his career.
Like losing important finals.
Exactly. Missing crucial penalties, being knocked out of tournaments, facing criticism from coaches, journalists, and even his own supporters at times.
Yet he always seemed to come back stronger.
That's one of the defining characteristics of his career. Resilience. Every great athlete faces setbacks. The difference is how they respond.
So failure became part of the story.
Absolutely. Success without failure doesn't teach much. Ronaldo's career shows that setbacks don't have to define you. Sometimes they become motivation.
That's probably one of the reasons so many young athletes admire him.
Definitely. They don't just admire the trophies. They admire the discipline behind them.
You know what's funny? Even people who don't support his teams often respect his dedication.
That's because discipline is universal. Whether you're an athlete, a student, a musician, or a business owner, the idea of working relentlessly toward a goal is something almost everyone understands.
So his influence goes beyond football.
Far beyond football, Ronaldo became a global symbol of ambition. Millions of people started going to the gym because of him. Others became more serious about nutrition, recovery, or setting personal goals. His mindset inspired people in completely different industries.
That's actually a huge legacy when you think about it.
It is. Very few athletes change culture. Ronaldo managed to do that.
But, James, there's another debate that never seems to disappear.
Let me guess.
Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi.
The debate that has lasted for almost 20 years.
It feels like football fans will never stop arguing about it.
Probably not. And honestly, that's part of what made this era so special. Instead of appreciating 2 extraordinary careers, many people felt they had to choose sides.
Team Ronaldo or Team Messi?
Exactly. But history will probably remember them differently. Not as enemies, but as two players who pushed each other to levels we've rarely seen before.
Almost like two legends competing at exactly the same time.
That's right. Their rivalry motivated both of them to improve year after year. Fans are lucky enough to witness something that may never happen again.
So maybe the real winners were all of us.
I think that's a fair way to put it.
But records and trophies don't win World Cups on their own. Right now, Portugal has one dream left. They want to lift the biggest trophy in football. The question is, can this team actually do it with a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo leading the attack?
That's the biggest football question of this tournament, and it's exactly where we're going next.
Welcome back. So now we've reached what might be the biggest football question of this entire World Cup. Can Portugal actually win the tournament with Cristiano Ronaldo leading the team at 41 years old?
That's the question every football analyst seems to be discussing. And honestly, there isn't one simple answer.
Because on paper, Portugal looks incredibly strong.
They really do. This is one of the most talented Portuguese squads we've seen in years. There are experienced leaders, technically gifted midfielders, creative playmakers, fast wingers, and a solid defensive unit.
Which means this isn't a one-man team anymore.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest differences compared to earlier stages of Ronaldo's international career. Years ago, many people expected him to carry Portugal almost by himself. Today, the responsibility is shared across the entire squad.
Do you think that's actually an advantage?
I do. Modern football is all about teamwork. Even the greatest player in history can't win a World Cup alone. Every champion needs a complete team.
And Portugal certainly has quality players around him.
Absolutely. What's interesting is how Ronaldo's role has evolved. Earlier in his career, he was often the fastest player on the pitch. He would dribble past defenders, sprint down the wing, and create chances from almost nothing.
Now his game looks different.
Very different. Experience has replaced speed. Instead of trying to beat three defenders with explosive pace, he focuses on positioning, movement inside the penalty area, timing his runs, and finishing opportunities.
So he adapted.
Exactly. That's something great athletes do. They understand that their bodies change, and instead of fighting those changes, they adjust their style.
It's almost like watching two different versions of Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's a great way to describe it. The 23-year-old Ronaldo and the 41-year-old Ronaldo play completely different football, but both versions are incredibly intelligent.
Still, critics keep saying that Portugal should move on.
They do. Some analysts believe younger forwards bring more energy, more pressing, and greater defensive work rate over 90 minutes.
Which isn't an unreasonable argument.
Not all. Football is constantly evolving. Teams play at incredible intensity now, and coaches often prioritize mobility and pressing.
So, where does Ronaldo fit into that?
That's where coaching becomes fascinating. A good manager doesn't simply ask, "Who's the fastest player?" Instead, they ask, "How can I get the best out of every player I have?"
In other words, you build the system around your strengths.
Exactly. Ronaldo may not press defenders for 90 minutes like he did 15 years ago, but he still offers something very few players can.
Finishing.
Finishing, aerial ability, leadership, experience, and, perhaps most importantly, composure.
Composure is underrated.
Very underrated. Imagine it's the 89th minute of a World Cup quarterfinal. The score is tied. One chance falls inside the penalty area. Would you trust an inexperienced player or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Most people would probably choose Ronaldo.
And that's why he remains valuable. Great goal scorers don't always need 10 chances. Sometimes they only need one.
But football can also be unpredictable.
That's one of the reasons we love it. The strongest team doesn't always win. Injuries happen. Red cards happen. Penalty shootouts decide championships. Tiny moments can completely change history.
Which means Portugal's dream depends on much more than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Absolutely. The defense has to stay organized. The midfield needs to control games. The younger attackers have to contribute. Goalkeepers have to make big saves. Winning the World Cup requires every part of the team to perform.
And maybe that's actually good for Ronaldo.
I think so. Instead of carrying the entire nation on his shoulders, he can focus on doing what he does best.
Scoring important goals.
Exactly.
You know, there's something poetic about all this. At the beginning of his career, Portugal depended on Ronaldo to become a football giant. Now, near the end of his career, Ronaldo depends on Portugal to help him achieve one final dream.
That's beautifully said.
But here's something I've been wondering. Let's imagine Portugal wins the World Cup. Would that change Ronaldo's place in football history?
That's an incredible question, because for many people, that single trophy could completely reshape the way his entire career is remembered.
And that's exactly what we're diving into next. Welcome back. We've talked about the pressure, the records, and Portugal's chances. But now I want to ask the question that has probably divided football fans for years. If Cristiano Ronaldo wins the World Cup, does that finally end every debate?
That's probably the biggest what if in modern football.
Because whenever people compare the greatest players of all time, someone always brings up the World Cup.
Exactly. Whether that's fair or not is another discussion. But the World Cup carries a unique weight. It's the most watched sporting event on the planet. And for many fans, it's the ultimate achievement in football.
Even though football is still a team sport.
Right? That's something people often forget. A player doesn't win the World Cup alone. Even the greatest footballer in history needs an excellent squad, smart coaching, a bit of luck, and sometimes even favorable moments during the tournament.
So, if Portugal lifts the trophy,
Ronaldo would certainly add one final chapter to an already extraordinary career. But here's the interesting part. I don't think one trophy can define everything.
really?
Think about it. If you remove one tournament, would Ronaldo suddenly stop being one of the greatest players ever?
No.
Of course not. More than 2 decades of excellence can't be erased because of one competition.
That's actually a good point.
We sometimes reduce legendary careers to one missing trophy, and that isn't always fair. Football history is filled with incredible players who never won the World Cup.
Yet they're still legends.
Exactly.
But emotionally, it would still feel like the perfect ending.
Absolutely. Stories matter. Humans love complete stories. A young superstar arrives at his first World Cup in 2006, spends 20 years chasing the biggest prize in football, and finally wins it in what could be his last tournament.
That sounds like a movie.
It really does.
But football doesn't always give us Hollywood endings.
That's what makes it beautiful. Sometimes legends win everything. Sometimes they don't. And somehow, both stories become unforgettable.
Let's imagine the opposite scenario.
Portugal gets eliminated?
Exactly.
Well, there would certainly be disappointment. Ronaldo is one of the most competitive athletes we've ever seen. Losing hurts him more than most people realize.
We've seen that throughout his career.
Yes, he has never hidden his emotions. When he wins, you can see the joy. When he loses, you can see the pain. That's one reason people connect with him. He's incredibly driven.
But if Portugal doesn't win,
I don't think history changes very much. People will still remember his records, his longevity, his discipline, his leadership, and the countless unforgettable moments he gave football fans.
Because his career is already complete.
Exactly. A World Cup would be an incredible bonus. It wouldn't be the only reason he's considered one of the greatest players ever.
There's another thing I've noticed. Even rival fans seem more respectful now than they were 10 years ago.
That's a natural part of sports. While athletes are competing, emotions run high. Fans argue. They compare. They criticize.
But as retirement gets closer,
people begin to appreciate what they're witnessing. They realize they're watching the end of an era that may never be repeated.
it's funny how perspective changes.
It does. Sometimes we only fully appreciate greatness when we realize it's almost gone.
That's actually true in many parts of life.
Exactly. Whether it's sports, music, cinema, or even personal relationships, people often recognize the true value of something only when they know it won't last forever.
Which brings us to the biggest question of all.
Life after Cristiano Ronaldo.
Because one day, whether it's this year or a little later, football will continue without him.
And that's honestly difficult to imagine.
What does football look like after Cristiano Ronaldo?
That's the perfect way to end this conversation, because saying goodbye to a legend isn't just about one player retiring. It's about the end of an entire generation.
And that's exactly where we're heading for our final chapter. Welcome back to the final part of today's episode. You know, James, throughout this conversation, I kept thinking about something. One day, football is going to continue without Cristiano Ronaldo. And honestly, that's hard to imagine.
It really is. For millions of football fans around the world, Ronaldo has always been there. Different clubs, different teammates, different competitions. But somehow, Cristiano Ronaldo was always part of the story.
It's strange. There are children watching this World Cup who have never lived in a world where Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't one of football's biggest stars.
That's true. Entire generations grew up watching him score goals almost every single season. Parents watched him. Their children watched him. And now, those children are becoming adults while Ronaldo is still competing.
That's unbelievable longevity.
It really is.
What do you think football loses when Ronaldo eventually retires?
That's a great question. Obviously, football loses one of its greatest goal scorers. But I think it loses something even bigger.
Which is?
A symbol.
A symbol?
Yes. Cristiano Ronaldo became much more than a football player. He became proof that discipline, consistency, and relentless hard work can keep someone at the very top for an incredibly long time.
That's probably why so many people admire him, even if they support another team.
Exactly. You don't have to be a Real Madrid fan. You don't have to support Manchester United. You don't even have to support Portugal. You can simply respect the commitment it took to build a career like this.
You know what I've always found interesting?
What's that?
Whenever young footballers are asked who inspired them, Ronaldo's name always comes up.
That's because inspiration is one of the greatest achievements any athlete can leave behind. Records will eventually be broken. Someone may score more goals one day. Someone may play more matches. But inspiring millions of people, that's much harder to replace.
That's such a good point. Statistics belong to history books. Inspiration belongs to people.
Exactly.
So, let's go back to our original question. Is this Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup?
Honestly, none of us knows for certain. Football has surprised us many times before. Ronaldo himself has spent his entire career proving people wrong.
Every time someone said, "He's finished."
Somehow, he came back.
Every time someone said, "He's too old."
He found another way to compete.
That's almost become part of his identity.
It has. But eventually, every incredible journey reaches its final chapter.
And maybe that's what makes this World Cup feel so emotional.
Because fans aren't just watching Portugal. They're watching history happen in real time.
Whether he lifts the trophy, scores another unforgettable goal, or simply walks off the pitch for the final time, this tournament will always have a special place in football history.
Absolutely. Years from now, people won't just remember the statistics. They'll remember where they were, who they watched the matches with, the excitement, the debates, the celebrations, and the feeling that they witnessed one of football's greatest legends in what may have been his final World Cup.
And maybe that's the real legacy. Not just the trophies, not just the records, but the memories.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, that's all for today's episode. We'd love to hear your opinion. Do you think this is Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup? Can Portugal win the trophy? And where does Cristiano Ronaldo rank among the greatest footballers of all time?
Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We read as many of them as we can, and we'd love to continue the conversation with you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating, and share this podcast with another football fan.
Thanks so much for listening.
And before we go, if you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to support the channel. Hit that like button if you found this episode interesting. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our future podcasts. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever we upload a new episode. We'd also love to hear from you. Do you think this is Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup? Can Portugal go all the way and lift the trophy? And where does Cristiano Ronaldo rank among the greatest football players of all time? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, tell us one thing. What topic would you like us to discuss in our next podcast? We read your comments, and your suggestions help shape future episodes. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We truly appreciate your support. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.